Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangam langayate girim Yat kipatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 15, Text 32. Upon hearing Lord Shri Krishna's return to his abode and upon understanding the end of the Yadu's dynasty's earthful manifestation, Maharaj Yudhishthira decided to go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Maharaj Yudhishthira also turned his attention to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita after hearing about the Lord's departure from the vision of the earthly people. He began to deliberate on the Lord's way of appearance and departure. The mission of the Lord's appearance and disappearance in the mortal universe is completely dependent on the supreme will. He is not forced to appear by any superior energy, as the living beings appear and disappear, being forced by the laws of nature. Whenever the Lord likes, He can appear Himself from anywhere and everywhere without disturbing His appearance, disappearance in any other place simultaneously. He is like the sun. The sun appears and disappears on its own accord at any place without disturbing its presence in other places. The sun appears in the morning in India without disappearing from the western hemisphere. The sun is present everywhere and anywhere all over the solar system, but it is so appears that in a particular place the sun appears in the morning and also disappears at some fixed time in the evening. And just check if I'm on mute or not. Good. The time limitation even of the sun is of no concern. So what to speak of the Supreme Lord, who is the creator and controller of the sun. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that anyone who factually understands the transcendental appearance and disappearance of the Lord by his inconceivable energy becomes liberated from the laws of birth and death and is placed in eternal sky where the Vaikuntha planets are. There, such liberated person can eternally without the pangs of death, birth, death, old age and disease. In the spiritual sky, the Lord and those who are eternally engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord are all eternally young, and there is no old age and disease, and there is no death. Because there is death, there is no birth. It is concluded therefore that simply by understanding the Lord's appearance and disappearance, in truth one can attain perfection stage of eternal life. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvatha taktva deham punarjanma neti mameti soarjuna. Therefore, Maharaj Yudhishthira also began to consider going back to Godhead. The Lord appears on the earth or any other mortal planet along with his associates who live with him eternally, and the members of the family who are engaged in supplementing the pastimes of the Lord are no other than his eternal associates. So also Maharaj Yudhishthira and his brother and mother, etc., since the appearance and disappearance of the Lord and his external associates are transcendental, one should not be bewildered by the external features of the appearance and disappearance. Text 33. Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of the Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna, engaged in the devotional service of the transcendental personality of Godhead with full attention and thus gained release from the course of material existence. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The setting of the sun does not mean the end of the sun, it means the sun is out of our sight. Similarly, the end of the mission of the Lord on a particular planet or universe only means that he is out of our sight. The end of Yadu dynasty does not mean that it is annihilated, it disappears along with the Lord out of our sight. As Maharaj Yudhishthira decided to prepare to go back to Godhead, so also Kunti decided. and thus she fully engaged herself in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, which guarantees one passport for going back to Godhead after quitting the present material body. The beginning of devotional service to the Lord is the beginning of spiritualization of the present body, and thus an unalloyed devotee of the Lord does not materially and thus an unalloyed devotee of the Lord loses all material contact in present body. The abode of the Lord is not a myth and is thought by the unbelievers or ignorant people, but cannot reach there by any material means like a Sputnik or space capsule. But one can certainly reach there after leaving this present body, and one must prepare himself to go back to Godhead by practicing devotional service. That guarantees a passport for going back to Godhead, and Kunti adopted it. Text 34. The Supreme Unborn Lord Shri Krishna caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out thorn with a thorn, though both are the same to the controller. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that the rishis like Shaunak and others who were hearing Srimad Bhavatam, Sutta Goswami and Naimisharina were not happy to hear about the Yadus dying in the madness of intoxication. To give them relief from this mental agony, Sutta Goswami assured them that the Lord caused the members of Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, by which they had to take away the burden of the world. The Lord and his eternal associates appeared on earth to help the administrative demigods in eradicating the burden of the world. He therefore called for some of the confidential demigods to appear in the Yadu family and serve him in his great mission. After the mission was fulfilled by the demigods, by the will of the Lord, relinquished their corporal bodies by fighting amongst themselves in the madness of intoxication. The demigods are accustomed to drinking the sonorous beverage, and therefore the drinking of wine and intoxication is not unknown to them. Sometimes they were put into trouble for indulging in intoxication. One son of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada. Once the sons of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada for being intoxicated, but afterwards they regained their original forms by the grace of the Lord Shri Krishna. We shall find the story in the 10th canto. For the Supreme Lord, both the Asuras and the demigods are equal, but the demigods are obedient to the Lord, whereas the Asuras are not. Therefore, example of picking out a thorn by another thorn is quite befitting. One thorn which causes pinpricks on the leg of the Lord is certainly disturbing to the Lord, and the other thorn which takes out the disturbing element certainly gives service to the Lord. So, although every living being is a part and parcel of the Lord, still one who is a pinprick to the Lord is called an Asura. One who is a voluntary servitor of the Lord is called a Devata or a demigod. In material world, the Devatas and Asuras are always contending, and the Devatas are always saved from the hands of the Asuras by the Lord. Both of them under the control of the Lord. The world is full of two kinds of living beings, and the Lord's mission is always to protect the Devatas and destroy the Asuras wherever there is such a need in the world, and to do good to both of them. Text 35. The Supreme Personality of Godhead relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of earth. He, just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like a fish incarnation and others. Shiva Path Puppet. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is neither impersonal nor formless, but his body is non-different from him, and therefore he is known as the embodiment of eternal knowledge and bliss. In the Brihad Vaishnava Tantra, it is clearly mentioned that anyone who considers the form of the Lord to be made of material energy must be ostracized. By all means, what is ostracized? To refuse to allow somebody to social group. Okay. उससे बात ही नहीं करनी चाहिए, उसको निकाल देना चाहिए हमारे ग्रुप से by all means. And if by chance the face of such an infidel is seen, one must clean himself by jumping in the river with his clothing. Oh, one should take bath basically if we see someone like that. The Lord is described as Amrita or deathless because he has no material body. Under the circumstances of the Lord's dying or quitting his body is like the jugglery of a magician. The magician shows by his tricks that he is cut to pieces, burnt to ashes, or made unconscious by hypnotic influences, but all are false shows only. Factually, the magician himself is neither burnt to ashes nor cut to pieces, nor is he dead or unconscious at any stage of his magical demonstration. Similarly, the Lord has his eternal forms of unlimited variety, of which the fish incarnation, as was exhibited within the universe, is also one. Because there are innumerable universes, somewhere or other the fish incarnation must be manifesting his pastimes without cessation. In the verse, the particular word dhate, eternally accepted, and not the word dvita, accepted for an occasion. So dhate, okay, here dhate jayat, dhate means eternally accepted, okay, is used. The idea is that Lord does not create the fish incarnation, he eternally has such a form, and the appearance and disappearance of such an incarnation serves particular purposes. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.24-25, the Lord says, the impersonalists think that I have no form, that I am formless, but that at the present I have accepted a form to serve a purpose, and now I am manifested. But such speculators are factually without sharp intelligence. Though they may be good scholars in the Vedic literatures, they are particularly ignorant of my inconceivable energies and my eternal form of personality. The reason is that I reserve the power of not being exposed to the non-devotees by my mystic curtain. The less intelligent fools are therefore unaware of my eternal form, which is never to be vanquished and is unborn. In the Padma Purana, it is said that those who are envious and always angry at the Lord are unfit to know the actual eternal form of the Lord. In the Bhavatam also, it is said that Lord appeared like a thunderbolt to those who were restless. Shishupal, at the time of being killed of the Lord, could not see him as Krishna, being dazzled by the glare of the Brahmajyoti. Therefore, the temporary manifestation of the Lord as a thunderbolt to the restless appointed by Kamsa or glaring appearance of the Lord before Shishupal was relinquished by the Lord, but the Lord as a magician is eternally existent and is never vanquished in any circumstance. Such forms are temporarily shown to Asuras only, and when such exhibitions are withdrawn, the Asuras think that the Lord is no more existent, just as the foolish audience think that the magician to be burnt to ashes or cut to pieces. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material body and therefore he is never to be killed or changed by his transcendental body. Text 36. When the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from that very day Kali, who had already partially appeared, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with poor fund of knowledge. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The influence of Kali can be enforced only upon those who are not fully developed in God consciousness. One can neutralize the effects of Kali by keeping oneself fully under the supreme care of the personality of Godhead. The age of Kali ensued just after the battle of Kurukshetra, but it could not exert its influence because the presence of the Lord. The Lord, however, left this earthly planet in his own transcendental body, and as soon as he left, the symptoms of Kali Yuga as were envisioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira prior to Arjuna's arrival from Dwarka began to manifest, and Maharaj Yudhishthira rightly conjectured on the departure of the Lord from the earth, as we have already explained. The Lord left a sight where, just as when the sun sets, it is out of our sight. Text 37. Maharaj Yudhishthir was intelligent enough to understand the influence of the age of Kali, characterized by increasing avarice, falsehood, cheating, violence, and throughout the capital state, home, and among individuals. So he wisely prepared himself to leave home and he dressed accordingly. Srila Prabhupada purport. The present age is influenced by the specific qualities of Kali. Since the days of the battle of Kurukshetra, about 5000 years ago, the influence of the age of Kali began manifesting, and from authentic scriptures it is learned that the age of Kali is still to run on for 4,27,000 years, or 427,000 years. The symptoms of Kali Yuga, as mentioned above, namely avarice, falsehood, diplomacy, cheating, nepotism, violence, and all kinds of such things are already in vogue, and no one can imagine what is going to happen gradually with further increase of the influence of Kali till the day of annihilation. We have already come to know that the influence of the age of Kali is meant for godless so-called civilized men. Those who are under the protection of the Lord have nothing to fear for the horrible age. Maharaj Yudhishthira was a great devotee of the Lord, and there was no necessity of his being afraid of age of Kali, but he preferred to retire from active household life and prepare himself to go back to Godhead. The Pandavas are eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore they are more interested in the company of the Lord than anything else. Besides that, being an ideal king, Maharaj Yudhishthira wanted to retire just to set an example for others. So as soon as some young fellow to look after the household affairs, one should at once retire from the family life to uplift oneself to spiritual realization. Okay. One should not rot in the dark well of household life. One should not rot in the dark well of household life till one is dragged out by the will of Yamaraj. Modern politics should have taken lessons from Maharaj Yudhishthira about voluntary retirement from active life and should make room for the younger generation. Also, retired old gentlemen should take lessons from him and leave home for spiritualization before being forcefully dragged away by death to meet death. Text 38. Thereafter, in the capital of Hastinapur, he enthroned his grandson, who was trained and equally qualified as the emperor and master of all land bordered by the seas. The total land on the earth bordered by the seas was under the subjugation of the king of Hastinapur. Maharaj Yudhishthira trained his grandson Maharaj Parikshit, who was equally qualified in the state of administration in terms of king's obligation to the citizens. Thus, Parikshit was enthroned on the seat of Maharaj Yudhishthira prior to the departure back to Godhead. Prior to his departure back to Godhead. Concerning Maharaj Parikshit, the specific word used, vinayinam, is insignificant. Swarataputram vinayinam. Properly trained. Word use is significant. Why was the king of Hastinapur, at least till the time of Maharaj Parikshit, accepted as the emperor of the world? The only reason is that the people of the world were happy because of the good administration of the emperor. The happiness of the citizens was due to the ample production of natural produce such as grains, fruits, milk, herbs, valuable stones, minerals, and everything that the people needed. They were even free from all bodily miseries, anxieties of the mind, and disturbances caused by natural phenomena and other living beings. Because everyone was happy in all respects, there was no resentment, although there were because everyone was happy in all respects, there was no resentment, although there were sometimes battles between state kings for political reasons and supremacy. Everyone was trained to attain the highest goal of life, and therefore the people were also enlightened enough not to quarrel over trivialities. The influence of the age of Kali gradually infiltrated good qualities of both the kings and citizens, and therefore a tense situation developed between the ruler and the ruled. But still, in this age of disparity between the ruler and the ruled, there can be spiritual and now emolument. Okay, there can be spiritual emolument and God consciousness. That is the special prerogative. Text 39. Then he posted Vajra, the son of Aniruddha, grandson of Lord Shri Krishna, at Mathura as the king of Surshen. Afterwards, Maharaj Yuji performed Prajapatya sacrifice and placed himself in the fire for quitting household life. Srila Prabhupada's purport. After placing Maharaj Parikshit on the imperial throne of Hastinapur and after posting Vraja, the great grandson of Lord Krishna, Vajranabh. So Vajranabh has made these deities like Shri Radha Govind Dev Ji, Radha Gopinath Ji, and our dear Madan Mohan Ji. So many deities of this time were made by Vajranabh actually. A great grandson of Lord Sri Krishna, as the king of Mathura, accepted the renounced order of life. The system of 4 orders of life and 4 castes in terms of quality and work, known as Varnashram Dharma, is the beginning of real human life. And Maharaj Yudhishthira, as the protector of this system of human activities, timely retired from active life as a sannyasi, handing over the charge of administration to a trained prince, Maharaj Parikshit. The scientific system of Varnashram Dharma divides the human life into 4 divisions of occupation and 4 orders of life. The 4 orders of life as Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas are to be followed by all, irrespective of occupational division. Modern politicians do not wish to retire from active life, even if they are old enough. But Yudhishthira Maharaj, as an ideal king, voluntarily retired from active administration life to prepare himself for the next life. Everyone's life must be so arranged that this last stage of life, say at least last 15 to 20 years prior to death, can be absolutely devoted to the devotional service of the Lord to attain the highest